I get it. As students, we're so busy. So in this video, I'm going to share 5 quick tips that you can start implementing right now to study less and still get high grades. I've implemented these tips while studying engineering at university, and I have a 3.93 GPA, so I promise you it'll be helpful. All I ask in return is you like and subscribe to support the channel. The first tip is to do every other suggested problem or assigned homework question. Questions in the textbook often test the same concept, and since we never have enough time to study to cover the most topics while still being efficient, you want to skip every other question. I know you might be scared that you'll miss something important, but it's better to do questions that range a variety of topics and difficulties and do them properly, rather than doing a lot of questions around one topic and not having enough time to cover another topic properly. My second tip is to skim notes before class and look at learning objectives to see where your lecture or your class is going to cover. When you just go to class without having knowledge about the topic, you're going to be so confused and you're just going to end up staring at the ceiling because you have no clue what's going on. And then what's going to end up happening is you're going to come home and try to learn the content from scratch by yourself. And it's going to be super hard, so you're going to end up wasting a lot of time. So by skimming notes and looking at learning objectives before class, you'll understand more of what the teacher or professor is teaching. So when you review your notes at home, you'll understand way more of it and you'll have to spend way less time reviewing. My third tip is don't study with your friends if your friends don't actually study. Like if you and your friends can have a group study session and get quality work done, then that's amazing, keep doing it. But most of the time, we say we're going to study with our friends and then just end up talking to them the whole time. So instead of hanging out with your friends and calling it studying, let's make it 2 separate events. Study by yourself at home and get quality work done, and then go and hang out with your friends and actually have fun. This way, you don't feel like you spend your whole day just studying, you get quality work done, and you still get to have fun with your friends. One more thing I want to add is a problem that I have, and I think many others also have, is a feeling that we have to do everything perfectly. And tip 4 is to try your best to avoid this perfection mindset. Like I tend to do this so much. For example, if I'm writing a report and I'm almost ready to hand it in, I might just end up spending an extra 10 hours editing it to make it look perfect. Or if I'm like doing math problems, I might get stuck on one specific problem, but then end up wasting my whole evening just on that problem. And essentially, I just get carried away so often, and this just ends up wasting a lot of my time. From my experience, getting top marks, whether that be high 90s in middle school or high school, or like the highest GPA band in university, is less about knowing the content perfectly, but about perfectly demonstrating the content that you do know. For example, say you spend 40 hours cramming for an exam in the last 2-3 days, and you understand, or you think you understand 100% of the content. When you go to the exam, because you overworked yourself, and you're gonna be so tired from all the cramming, you're gonna end up making a lot of careless mistakes, and you're not gonna be able to think critically on the exam, and this is gonna cost you a lot of marks. But on the other hand, if you spend like half that time, like 20 hours, learning 80% of the content or like most of the content well, but you stop studying with some gaps in the rest of the content, you might still end up doing just as well or even better on the exam. This is because you'll be more energized, you'll make way less careless mistakes, and you'll have the mental capacity to think critically and answer challenging questions on the exam. All I'm trying to say is that you don't need to know the content perfectly or try to do everything as perfectly as possible. Sometimes you have to be okay with not doing things perfectly, especially if you're in a program with super high workload. This way, you can ensure that you're caught up with all your courses, you're well rested, you learn more effectively, and you optimize your mark. My last tip is to adopt a time management system that forces you to reduce your workload. As students, we're so busy, and the only way we can stay on top of all our content is by minimizing our workload, by understanding what aspects of school that we need to do and what aspects of school that we don't need to do. And that's why having a time management system that forces you to pick and prioritize your most important tasks is so essential. I share my step-by-step time management system in this video right here, so make sure to check that out. And that's pretty much my 5 tips to study less and get high grades. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.